And the mayor also has spoken as well, saying that as a city, we're better than this, and urging protesters in downtown Atlanta to steer clear.
Jeff, I'm going to jump in
violence.
right now where you see this person that vandalized this police car. They are stomping on top of it, jumping on this windshield that has been caved in right now. We are seeing this happen live. No idea what led to this. You see those gates being thrown. This is the most intense thing that we have seen in this protest right now, with these police cars being vandalized, windshields being busted out, people running all over the place, throwing objects, police cars now under attack. I guess they were there initially to try to block off the crowds, but now the cars are under attack, Jeff. Let's go to Hope Ford on the ground. Hope, what can you tell us?
Okay, so people are telling us that they were just in there and it was pandemonium. They're saying don't, they were telling us don't go any further, don't go in there. And as you can see, they're getting on the cars now. They're starting to stomp. It's okay. So we're gonna move a little bit away so that we have a lot of people who are shouting vulgarities. But you see, really start. Okay, we're gonna back up a little bit. They're really starting to kind of bang on those police cars right there, and the crowd is moving back. The crowd is starting to move back as they're starting to beat on all of those police cars. There are a couple of people who are, kind of egging them on, but for the most part, there's a lot of people who are in shock and who are starting to back up from what's happening. We haven't seen any police cars. Okay, there's right there. You can see him, he's banging on it with his arm. They're stomping on it. We haven't seen any police officers right now, and it seems to be just continuing to move to all of the police cars. Things kind of starting to get a little bit out of hand as those emotions are continuing to rise.
May 30th, 2020. When I tell you I will never forget that day, I mean I will never, ever forget that day. It's a big part of the reason why I don't live in Atlanta anymore. Let me paint the picture for you. This is after the death of George Floyd. There are riots all over the place. And I'm thinking, downtown Atlanta, you should be safe. No sir, no ma'am. And I need you to understand something. I tell you this story from the perspective of a black man who paid $1.1 million for his condo. And the things that I experienced were absolutely despicable. But this story is not about the riots. It's not about the burning or the looting or the fact that some jackass decided that he was going to jump up and down on the roof of my Mercedes-Benz, claiming that the vehicle belonged to a white person while I am there with the keys in my hand, telling him this is my vehicle. And it didn't matter whose vehicle it was. It didn't matter the skin color of the owner whatsoever. What I witnessed was pure and utter lawlessness. That's what I found myself trapped in walking home. Imagine a scene. I leave work, there's traffic and congestion everywhere. My condo is 15 blocks away from my office. So I said, guess what? I'm gonna go ahead and walk that way. So I decide there's no Uber, no Lyft. I'm just gonna go ahead and walk home. The first block is cool. Second block, cool. By the time I get 3 blocks into this walk, I start to notice there's a crowd of people forming. And not a small crowd of people. And they're all headed in the same direction that I'm headed. Now, I don't know if you know this about rides, but when a ride is in the process of starting, you don't have any clue that's what's going on. You just notice a whole bunch of people in one area. So I stop at one of the local restaurants that I frequent, get a hamburger, some french fries, chill, relax, thinking to myself, okay, maybe they got some kind of concert, something going on. I'll just let all the people pass by. Nope, greatest mistake I could have ever made in my life. I end up sitting there talking to the owner of the restaurant for 2.5 hours. By the time I go outside, it is now dark. Now pause right here in the story and let me say this. Again, this story is not about the riots. It's about the lawlessness and what I saw transpiring during these riots. So now as I'm walking out of the door, making a left, headed home, the owner comes running outside and says, hey man, be careful. It's some rioting and looting going on. He pulls out his cell phone and shows me the Instagram account of one of his friends' restaurants that's currently being looted. So now I'm thinking to myself, I live in $1 million condo. All I got to do is get home. There is no way in hell that the people who develop these condos are going to allow this type of bull crap to go on in that area. It just doesn't make any sense. And I need you to understand, the cops were always at this condo. So I'm saying to myself, hey, if I can just get there, everything will be fine. So now I'm walking along and I'm starting to notice things going on in between buildings and down alleyways. For example, the first alleyway I walk by, I see a couple of guys with masks on. They're squatted down and they're digging inside of these backpacks. Now, first thing that comes to my mind, this is Atlanta. These some jack boys, so I get to step and get the hell on up out of their way, right? I go another 2 blocks, and that's when I start to smell the smoke. Something was on fire. 3 more blocks, and it's pure and utter madness. Smoke everywhere, police in the streets. They have people throwing sticks and bottles, breaking out windshields of cars. It's pure bedlam going on in downtown Atlanta. So now I'm standing there thinking to myself, okay, how the hell do I get out of this? Looking to my left, there's another alleyway, and I'm thinking to myself, you know what? The best thing I can do is find a way around all of this foolishness. So I dart off into that alleyway. And to paint a picture for you, it's not a dark alley, it's well lit, it feels safe, there's no reason for me to be worried. I'm walking, and I'm walking, and I'm walking, and when I get to the end of the alley, I can go left or I can go right. Now I'm on the back side of one of the office buildings, right by the loading dock. There's 2 dumpsters. There's 1 truck that was back there offloading goods into this building. I circle around the front of that 18-wheeler, and when I come around the front of that 18-wheeler, I see them. This crowd of people, 20, 30 people coming in my direction. Understand, every last one of them are wearing all black, they have bandanas, they got hoodies, their faces are covered, and their hands are covered. So I'm saying to myself, see, this is some bullshit you done found yourself in. And there's absolutely no way that I'm walking into that crowd. So I duck on the other side of the rig of the 18-wheeler, and I'm standing there thinking to myself, okay, if I go back up this alley, I'm going back into the ride. Clearly, this group of people are flanking the police for some reason, and I don't want anything to do with it. And right here's when things go from bad to worse, because I'm looking around for a place to hide from this group of people. And I noticed that one of these dumpsters is not for trash, it's for shredded papers. So I hurry up, open the top, jump inside. And this is where it really, really gets scary. I'm down inside of that dumpster. The lid doesn't close all the way. I'm doing my best just to keep still as I peer through this little opening, and that crowd is going by. And absolutely nobody's looking in my direction. It gets to the very end of the crowd, and there's this one guy with them, tall, way taller than the others. He stops, and he looks directly at me. And understand, I'm concealed inside of this dumpster. There is no way in hell that he knew I was there. But somehow, he knew. You know how when someone's wearing a hoodie and they have the bandana over their face, but it's slid all the way up to the very bottom of their eyes? That's how he looked from a distance, just like a tall person, all black bandana slid all the way up to his eyes. However, he stops and starts working his way in my direction. And as he gets closer and closer, I'm noticing that his eyes give off this glistening purple color. Now he's 10 feet away from me, standing there, staring directly into the opening. He says,
"Glenn, I see you. Join us, Glenn. Come be with us, Glenn. Glenn, I see you."
Pause right here for a moment and let me explain something to you. There's fear, right? Like scary movie fear. Like I'm laying in the bed watching a scary movie and the movie's so scary and I feel like something might be in the room with me, right? There's that kind of fear. And then there's fear. The kind of fear that seeps into your bones. The kind of fear that gets into your blood and pulsates through your veins. The kind of fear that makes your toes tingle and burn. That's the kind of fear I was experiencing. And then it took the hoodie off. When I say it wasn't a man. It wasn't it. Unlike anything I've ever seen. It had these ridges in his head, almost as if someone had taken it.
Yes. This is Byron Miles, and I have to stop the story right here. You cannot have any more. If you want the rest of this story, I insist that you must go over to IamDocWaters.com. IamDocWaters.com to hear the rest of the story. This is in the members only section, but listen to me when I say this to you. Some of you may be saying to yourselves, I have no intention of paying for a story. I have told you before in the last video that I will make you offers and deals you cannot refuse. That starts today. Yes. Baron Miles is back.